Alright guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you 6 signs that you are ahead of everyone else, even if you don't realize it. And the good thing is all of these things are things you can change in your own life. You don't have to be a special person to have these traits. If you don't have these traits, you can acquire them. So, the first thing is that you show up early and on time frequently. Meaning 99% of the time, if you're scheduled to be somewhere, or if you have obligations to be at work at a certain time, then that means that you actually respect those times that are given. Now, first of all, I say 99% of the time because I understand that there are sometimes extraneous circumstances that don't allow you to show up earlier on time, or simply you're a human and you don't always, and all humans make mistakes, even if it's just 1% of the time. The reason why I say this is because if you want to get ahead of most people struggle to even do this. So if you're able to do it 99% of the time, if not 100% of the time, you won't just be, ahead of most other people in whatever you're trying to accomplish by being ahead in time. People actually recognize this, especially those who, you want to impress, whether it be a manager or if it's simply clients that you're trying to sell to. People respect others that are on time or early. If you don't make this a habit, it is a blight on, the rest of whatever else you got going on. So I would highly prioritize getting that shit straightened out before most other things. Another sign that you might be ahead of other people that you might not realize is if people are telling you that, oh, you're a genius, or sort of like attributing, your successes to like, oh, you were born that way, you're so talented. Or even just complimenting you on doing so well at a task that you thought you did mediocre and you could have maybe done better. This is not something somebody's necessarily born with, but it's often framed like that. Instead, this is more of a show of your actual true hard work, dedication, and intelligence. People just don't know how to frame it right most of the time. So they'll say things like, oh, you must be a genius, right? Oh, you could speak, 3 languages. It wasn't, in their minds, it's not like, oh, how much grind they had. It's, oh, I could never do that because I wasn't born like you. So if you get these compliments, you may not even really think about them too much because, it's just like, oh, they're just trying to be nice, I'm not actually that good. Like, I barely even tried at this, this was like kind of like medium level effort for me. Stuff like this, if you're still getting compliments on stuff like that, I think this is a sign you're ahead of a lot of people. And if you are getting compliments like this, you'd be surprised on how little effort it sometimes takes to impress people. And it's just because you got out there and tried. Another thing is people overestimating your experience. So what I mean by this is that the result you produce essentially gives the impression that you've been doing this shit for a while, even if you necessarily haven't. I personally have gotten this a lot. People are very surprised in my industry when I'll start doing tasks for a project, right? They'll, overview my work or whatever, and then we'll have a friendly conversation down the line, and they're like, wait, what do you mean you can't drink yet? And I'm like, yeah, I just turned 20. It's like things like that. It's not because I look old, but it's more of, and I've been told this, they're like, no, you don't look old. It's just that I wouldn't have expected somebody your age to even be in this industry, let alone thriving in it. The way you can get people to start recognizing this about you is to actually put in the work and actually demonstrate your skills effectively. That means work at 100% efficiency at most, if not everything you do. So don't mishear me. I'm not trying to say that compliments are the end goal. They're just a sign that you are doing the right thing. And if you're not getting much compliments at all, if these things do not sound familiar to you, it probably is just a sign that you need to work harder, or you need to dedicate to yourself to something more. And that's okay, because if you're not in that position, you can always just change it. Another sign that you might be ahead of people is if you are often assigned or dive in to unique work. By its nature, unique work means straying from the path. But I want to be a little bit more specific in that you, let's say, are in a company or are in an industry where some menial tasks are often pushed on new people. If you are ahead of people in your knowledge base and skill set, oftentimes you'll see yourself getting clients with more unique problems, or you'll see yourself being given work that most other people at your level are not given. If you're like, oh, well, why am I always getting put the stuff that's more thought-provoking? And sometimes I just want to sit down and do some spreadsheets. It's probably because you actually have a talent for creative or, more thought-provoking work. Number 5 is going to be a quite simple one to implement in most people's lives, and that's calendarization. Now, I personally am not perfect at this, and oftentimes my schedule is shifting on a monthly basis. It's very hard to calendarize for me personally, but this is something I'm working more towards, because if you are able to calendarize every aspect of your life and have a good schedule and plan out everything you want to do in a day and a week, you are ahead of probably 95%, if not more, of society. Most people are just living day by day and not accomplishing what they want to, mainly because they are not writing it down. I would recommend using something like Google Docs. I've tried other softwares. They haven't really helped me stay consistent necessarily, especially because of my inconsistency in my calendar. But if you're able to do this and master the art of time management, man, you can do so much more with your time and be a lot more fulfilled. And even if you're not perfect on your calendar, if you calendarize stuff and you hit 80% of that goal, 70% of that goal, you've probably accomplished more than what you were going to do if you didn't calendarize it. And a final mention I want to bring up before I end this video is number 6, and that is a more concrete example. And that is if you have a net worth of $100,000 by 20 or $1 million by 30. Now, I say net worth, not income, because wealth is often measured more on what you have rather than what you can make. And generally speaking, these stats speak for themselves. If you have $100,000 by the age of 20, that means you've been doing something right. You weren't able to work long, you weren't able to invest legally long, and if you're able to amass this type of wealth before this age, you are absolutely killing it, and what you're doing is probably starting to work. Same thing goes with 30. Some people didn't catch, financial literacy as early as others. But if you're able to amass $1 million by 30, then you've been doing something right, because you have so much time for compounding interest still to take into effect that $1 million can do a whole lot for you, especially if it's invested correctly. And again, I think that everyone should strive for more, especially since a lot of people's lifestyles are always inflating. I think it's only natural to want more, and I really think, damn, okay, I fought with a C5. Anyways, so I think that these are some good metrics to keep yourself grounded, keep yourself knowledgeable, and really just see where you're at in the world, especially how well you're doing. And if you're seeing these signs in your life, or you hit these metrics, then realistically you're doing far better than most people. And if you keep doing what you're doing and you stay consistent, you can have an absolutely amazing and fulfilling life. So thank you all for watching, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Peace.